Welcome to Heeks and Dragon here, be dragons. So, today I have another video from Level Earth Observer, one he put out just a few hours after I did my last video on him. So I figured we would, take a look at it. And it looks like he's going back on his little, spiel about astronauts wearing harnesses or something along that line, because he's got an astronaut again on the International Space Station. Let's see what he has to say this time. How is he going to try and prove they were wearing a harness or some other contraption? Maybe this time he's going to say they were wearing a jetpack. I don't know. Let's go.
Check this out and I'll come back.
There will be new opportunities for science and discoveries. Not only will we increase our knowledge of our planet and the universe, we will advance research that leads to breakthrough science in areas that benefit people on Earth, like healthcare, and give rise to technologies that do not yet exist. But I am most excited for our kids.
Rat.
Today's announcement is a clear message to the next generation of Canadian explorers, future geologists, engineers, astronauts.
Fantasist.
Canada is inviting you to dream big. Thank you for giving me the chance to make history with you today, all the way from space.
No, thank you for highlighting the fact you're wearing a harness and making it obvious for most to see. Only the fantasists, naive and the gullible, will conjure up some delusional excuse for what we're seeing here and for all the other things that are highlighted. But you made it so obvious, in fact, that when the news played your little clip later on that day, they had to cover.
So, oh boy, let's let's take a step back here. Maybe you want to talk about delusional and fantasists here. He is taking, oh boy, he's really pushing on it here. So, okay, so this is supposedly where his harness is at. Why isn't it over on this side? Is this half a harness? So he's got a harness that's over here, but not over here. Perhaps the shirt's just billowing out this way, but he's wearing half a harness. Also, why would he be wearing a harness? You can't see that he's floating. I mean, it looks like he's standing. He's just standing there like this. There's no reason to have a harness on, especially not some intricate harness thing with CGI covering it and everything. But, so we have half a harness, and we have a situation where no harness is even needed. We can see his shirt puffing out. His face is all puffy, which is, common with zero-G. Everything behind it is floating around. Of course, he's just going to claim that's all a green screen. But then why would, not even wearing a harness part, we know he doesn't need a harness because we can't see him floating. Why would they do this? Okay. You can take a telephoto lens or a telescope outside, and with an app, you can quickly find the space station and take a picture of it. Or even video. You can watch it. You can observe it yourself. So we know it's up there. We see rockets launch up there. We see people get into rockets and launch up there. There's thousands of people that work on all of this. Okay, it's not just a small group. There are thousands of people to make this thing work all around the world. And they're all staying secret. They're all being quiet to keep this secret. When you can't keep a blowjob a secret. Yet, they're keeping all this a secret. So they're going through 95% of this just to fake the last 5%. I don't get that one. We know how zero-G works. They aren't floating, they're falling. So he's inside of the space station, and the space station is falling towards Earth. But it's going so fast, it just keeps missing the Earth. And when you're inside of something that's falling, you and the stuff inside are all falling at the same speed. Hence, it looks from your side like you are floating. Should we take a look at it from the outside, where we're still, we would see this thing just zipping past us with him inside of it, kind of as everything's falling. It's just like being inside of an elevator when the cable snaps and you go plummeting 100 floors. It would be the exact same thing. So we know it works. We know the physics work. We know all this stuff. So why would they even do that? And then why would they even fake this kind of stuff? Now, you ask them to prove it, prove the harness. Actually, show me the actual harness. Prove that this isn't just a shirt that's floating off this direction. Make it look tighter on this side. The half harness. And he can't. Since he can't, he's just taking one little part of the shirt and saying, this is a harness. But you can't prove it. So what's he do? He just calls you a fantasist. Yep. And you're just a dum-dum because you can't picture it. All he has is a thought. Maybe there's a harness there. There could be. Could there be a harness on there? Yeah. Can I prove there's not a harness? No. But the burden of proof isn't on me, it's on him. And he can't prove there is a harness. But like I said, critical thinking skills tells me that, more likely than not, he's not wearing a harness and there is no reason for them to fake this. Zero reason, so why would they do it? I mean, how does that make the Earth, prove the Earth is flat? I guess it just proves that he's trying to prove that space isn't real or something. Well, if space isn't real, where are all the stars coming from? Why is it that we can go out and see satellites and take pictures of, So, I mean, this is what we call a narcissist. Anyways, that's just the first 28 seconds.
To the next generation of Canadian explorers.
Oh, yeah, let's,
sorry,
I backed that up.
You for highlighting the fact you're wearing a harness and making it obvious for most to see. Only the fantasists, naive and the gullible, will conjure up some delusional excuse for what we're seeing here and for all the other things that are highlighted.
Which is exactly what he's doing.
But you made it so obvious, in fact, that when the news played your little clip later on that day, they had to cover up the obvious harness at play. Look.
We mean the half harness.
There will be new opportunities for science and discoveries. Not
Half a
only will we
harness.
increase our knowledge of our planet and the universe, we will advance research.
And
that
this
leads
is
to
probably his
breakthrough
biggest
science in
reach
areas that
ever.
benefit people on Earth, like healthcare, and give rise to technologies that do not yet exist. But I am most excited for our kids.
Can afford it because that stays there all the time, covering up the
Look
obvious
at me.
harness.
I'm wearing a
at play.
harness. and
Now, don't get me
pretending
wrong.
I'm in space.
Josh, don't get me wrong.
Granted, I'm really bad at it.
That
But
usually flashes up with the start of a story and then disappears so you can see the full screen. Of course, in this case, they realised Matey Boy here's harness was looking rather obvious, and as a result, they kept their letter and their wording up.
I don't see a harness.
But that is rather obvious. I mean, the people who actually believe the globe and space at this point in time are just lost causes. It's been explained to them, it's been highlighted, and the fact the globe's impossible. All that leaves these people then is to make ridiculous, delusional excuses, lie and misrepresent, and essentially fantasize. It's bizarre. It really is. These people, obviously, I'm a bit of a space basher, so you can imagine I'm quite popular with these toy-playing fantasists, and yeah, and I do get quite a lot of...
See, when you have no evidence to put forward, okay, you can't put forward any type of proof or anything, this is what you do. You just tell your audience that, nah, everyone else is just dumb. I'm not going to deal with them. They're just too dumb for me. I'm so super smart that they just can't comprehend, this level of godlike intelligence that I have. So they're just delusional. Don't even bother with them. They're so dumb. They can't see the obvious partial harness he's wearing when he doesn't even need to wear a harness because he is, you can't see him actually floating ever. Narcissist, but there's no need for name calling and stuff. Unless, like I said, that's all you've got. You have no actual evidence. You have no actual proof. You don't even have a decent theory. Nothing. You don't even have a good hypothesis. He's basing all of this on part of a shirt, where a harness would create a full tight thing on both sides. Well, maybe the harness is under a shirt. Then why is it causing issues on this side? Yeah, I'm not going to answer that. No, my intelligence is too godlike. It's too great for you to understand because you're all too gullible.
Videos made about me, but I just don't watch them. Why would I shed light on dark pantomime? No, I've got better things to do. If they had scientific demonstrations to refute me, I'd entertain it. Not only would I entertain it, I'd show it on my channel.
But they don't need to provide scientific demonstrations. He is the one making the claim. The burden of proof is on him. And if this is all he can bring as a burden of proof is part of a shirt that doesn't match the way a harness works at all, then he's got nothing. So he needs to bring the burden of proof. The burden of proof is to show us the actual harness. Show us the harness, not a weird looking shirt. That's not proof. That's not evidence. Show us the actual harness, which he can't do.
But no, I'm not going to show triggered pantomime artists spitting their dummies out.
See?
Because I'll bash their fantasy world week in, week out.
Yeah, so I'm just not going to do it because I'm too great for that.
And here's another obvious harness. Again, fantasists will, like I say, will conjure up some sort of delusional excuse. Hey, you carry on. Just don't expect people like myself to take yous seriously.
No, we don't. That's why we watch and make fun of you. Because the fact is you do take your stuff seriously. You just won't, the just level of dumbness here. Now, I honestly don't even really believe that Leo is real. I think he's a troll. He's just too, I don't know. It doesn't seem like he's a true believer. But that's just me. I just think he is a troll and stuff. But I could be wrong. But most flat earthers aren't this bad, But it could just be his personality too. Anyways, so, until he can actually show us the actual harness, no, there's no harness there. We need to actually see it. That's not how science works. That's not how evidence works. You can't say, oh, it looks like, Yeah, so let's take a look here at some other stuff here. I saw something the other day I want to take a quick look at before we end this. It was another one of his videos where I saw a pretty funny... Here we go. It's from 2 weeks ago.
It's strange the amount of effort.
Yeah, we'll go over this. If you guys want to see me cover this video, let me know. But so this is about them being in Skylab, and I guess more harnesses and stuff. But there's this comment here. Here we go. Wouldn't he be floating up the whole time? Why does he suddenly start floating up just because he pushed his legs up? And it's got 13 likes. He pushed his legs up, so he went up. Why wasn't he floating the whole time? Just so when you're in zero G, you aren't stuck floating right in the middle of the spacecraft. Okay? You aren't even floating. You're falling with the spacecraft. That's what's happening. Wherever you move yourself to is kind of where you stay at. And if you basic physics, an action, has an equal opposite reaction. So when you push your legs up, you go up. The fact that someone said this, couldn't understand, and then got 13 likes is just, it's crazy. It's, yeah. I mean, this is really just a whole bunch of people. One guy that, what's happened here is these are people that never actually paid attention in science class. They were out doing something else. They never paid attention in school. And now they just don't understand it at all. And here's someone that's giving them something that kind of sounds like it makes sense. But see, that's dangerous. When just because something makes sense doesn't mean that's how it works. Yet, that's what he's doing. And so now you have a bunch of people that, didn't pay attention in school, that have obviously no idea how science works, how space works, how orbit works, or weightlessness actually works. I guess they're suggesting that the dumbbells they're using are balloons. But, yeah, so they don't understand this stuff. So, whatever Elio's saying is, it's going to make sense to them. Because they don't understand that, just because it makes sense doesn't mean it's true. It's not a fact. You can't say something, oh, it looks like that doesn't work. Show us the evidence. Show us the proof. Then we'll accept it. But, of course, he's too godlike to do that. He's too intelligent. He's a super, crane driver. So, anyways, that's what I got for today. I'll probably have some more stuff later on. I'm going over a couple things. But, yeah, have a great day.